All right, let's talk about MomoCon. So it's been some time, and I'd like to do just an official MomoCon wrap up. I had did the moving in video, I've done the moving out video, but this is now let's really talk about it and my thoughts on it and how I think it all went. So first off, was the booth worth the money that I spent? And I want to say yes, I think it was great. We got a lot of foot traffic. We were in a really awesome spot. A lot of people came through. They were able to sit down at the table, play the game for 30 minutes to an hour, get a good demo, and then also because I had games running at the RPG hall, I could point to our little sheet there and say, hey, if you like this, come play our games at this time. And that was super awesome. So I really want to just say thank you to everybody who donated or, bought things through our fundraiser and really helped us get to MomoCon. Without you, this would not have been possible. In my little pod there, I was the only person there with TTRPGs to sell, or promote, rather. Everybody else was doing video games. I was actually next to Savannah College of Art and Design. I had another animation school across from me. But because of that, when people walked by, they were kind of confused because I didn't have any TV screens. I didn't have any game controllers. So they would walk up and be like, well, what's all this? Because all they saw were pieces of paper and some dice. And I think that was a really great selling point, or at least a great way to get people in. It also helped, I've noticed that when people walked by and they just kind of looked at my booth, just a smile and a nod was enough to get a lot of people to walk over. It was very interesting. If you just acknowledge them as people, that they're there, they're more than willing to come check out what you have. And I thought that was something interesting to note. And for people that are getting into this, something hopefully that you can learn from me, that just acknowledge the people walking by and you can get a lot of people interested in what you're promoting. Obviously, the best part of having the booth were the 4 kids that came by every day to play the game. We went through kind of the main scenario that I was running at the RPG hall and then came back for more. Just 2 came back the next day. They were going through another thing I little made up. Things started getting really out of hand, so they messaged their friends saying, you gotta get here, the farm is on fire. And their friends were texting back, but we're in panels, we don't care, get here. And it was such a cool experience that their friends raced over to help them finish out the scenario and win the day. They were by far my favorite group of people throughout the con at the booth, and I cannot get over how great they were and are, and I hope to see them year over year if I keep going back. That was the booth experience. Let's talk about the RPG hall. The RPG hall didn't go as well as I had hoped. One, because there's just a lot of D&D games there. A lot of people still just want to play D&D, so most of the slots were D&D games. Most people showing up just wanted to play that. So a lot of our offerings, a lot of our slots didn't get filled up. I had 6 altogether. 1 I had to cancel, but the other 5... I only filled up 2, and I think my volunteer was only able to fill up another 1. So about half of what we had offered, we only filled up a table or so. So that was a bit disappointing, but I understand why. We are a game that nobody knows about. We're competing against the Juggernaut, and it was just kind of difficult to break through. But the people that did play had a lot of fun, so I think it was worth it for that. We even had one night that people had stopped by the booth, checked it out, and when I was able to say, hey, we've got games at the RPG hall, they showed up later to play. So really, the booth ended up being a great way to promote our games. So I think in the future, it's almost like you want to have the booth and then have all your games slated for later in the con, so people can hear about you, see you first, and then show up, rather than having some at the beginning. That all said, one couple did just read the blurb about the game, and they were like, that sounded interesting, we're looking for something new, and they showed up to play and had a great time, to the point now one of them is in my ongoing campaign that we've been running, and we're all having a blast. So it's doing the job, and that I'm excited for. The other big issue this year with the RPG Hall is it was on the other side of the convention center, so I had to I had to hoof it between the two several times a day, and that was pretty painful physically. Just not used to doing that much walking. I have heard that they said next year they're going to be a lot closer together to the exhibit hall, and if that's the case and I end up with a booth again, that's going to make things a lot easier when I can just be like, hey, you want to play a game? It's right over there, as opposed to being like, well, yeah, I hope you can show up to the Omni. It's a mile away. But, it is what it is. Would I do it again? I think so. If I can afford it and they have the space open. It was great that they were able to make space for indie devs that was a little bit cheaper than the big guys. And if I can keep going back to promote the Crypt is Open, I think that is something I will do, especially because I'm offering something that's different than the niche there that is MomoCon, which is anime, and you would think that just wouldn't go together. It actually did okay. I think being different helped me in that way, that people are there for anime, but they see, something a little bit different, and that kind of piques their interest. So I think that all worked out well. And that is MomoCon. Again, thank you to everybody who donated to help us get there, and also a big special thanks to my two volunteers, Steven and Tom. They were awesome to help me just kind of Steven to watch the booth when I couldn't be there in a few days and just kind of explain the game to people, and then to Tom, who actually ran games, and even though some people didn't show up, hey, that was awesome, and we were able to give out some of the special giveaways, which were the printed books to people that showed up, and I went with 10 copies, and I came back with 2, so I think that shows that we did a great job in spreading the word. After this, we are headed, hopefully, to Gen Con. I was looking at Dragon Con. I don't know if I'm going to be able to make Dragon Con after all, but Gen Con, definitely, because I'm able to run some games for Monty Cook Games. That will cover my badge, and then all I have to do is worry about getting up there, which I'm just going to drive, and then staying in a hotel. So it cuts my expense down quite considerably. All right, well, that is the MomoCon wrap-up. I hope to see everybody there next year or at Gen Con. And until then, we'll see you by the campfire.